Hi folks, back again. This is number 8 of the Bathrobe Chronicles. One of the things I hope to cover over the next couple of weeks is, as I mentioned before, the so-called alternative and complementary medicine. So before I delve into any of the specific so-called treatments or modalities, as folks like to say, I thought I would at least spend a few minutes and just talk about it in general. No telling where all this mess started. Up until 4 or 5 years ago, I'm not even sure if I'd heard of any, I heard the term alternative or complementary. Maybe I did. If I did, it didn't seem important enough to remember it or pay attention to it or try and figure out what it is or anything else. But I guess the words try to stand on their own. Alternative, complementary, and now of course the latest is integrative. We're integrating it. And they have that word medicine after it, which really is kind of sad because none of this stuff is medicine, no matter how you look at it. Well, anyway. An alternative treatment, I guess, would be I have, let's say, appendicitis. I'm sort of joking here. And instead of rushing to the emergency room like any normal person would do with a brain, I would go to one of my healers. And as an alternative to going to the emergency room, maybe my energy healer or my naturopath or my homeopath or someone like that would treat me instead. That would be, I would say, an alternative to real treatment, to real medical treatment. Then the other, of course, complementary. That's a good one. In other words, I'm being treated by a real doctor for a real illness, and I'm going to some whack job for something that complements what my doctor is doing. Of course, you have to keep in mind that if my doctor is giving me a real treatment, the whack job's giving me some bogus pseudo-scientific treatment, then who's going to get the credit for all of this? Oftentimes it's the so-called practitioner out there, the healer, who gets the credit for what the doctor has done. This integrative stuff, no telling what the heck that is. I guess that would be a step beyond complementary. In other words, instead of complementing what a doctor is doing, we're sort of riding alongside of him, possibly. I don't know. But the thing to keep in mind is when you hear these words, don't just assume that because they throw medicine on the end of it, that this is going to help you at all, because it isn't. There's nothing that I know of out there of this type that's ever been proven to do anything for you. So basically what you're going to be doing is throwing away your money. And if you have an actual illness, something that needs actual medical attention, you aren't going to get it. It's going to keep, progressing. So that's sort of setting the stage for what I'll be talking about later. You might say, well, what are these things? Well, there's energy healing, which I have briefly talked about. Homeopathy. Then you could always go to a naturopath. Chiropractors are thrown into this too because of all the bogus things they do. Just about anything you hear, acupuncturist, acupressurist, it just goes on and on and on. But the main thing to remember is just because it has medicine after it doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't mean that it's going to help you. So just keep that in mind. As I said, I just wanted to touch on this briefly because in the future I'll be talking about these things in more detail. But so I guess that will be it for now. And as Pat Condell says, peace.